Hi, everyone. It's Alex Savage from KTVU, Fox 2 News in the San Francisco Bay Area. And much of the country now is beginning the process of reopening. But there is still one industry that, in many cases, that they are not able to reopen their doors, and that would be salons and barber shops. And joining us now to talk more about some of the struggles that these businesses are facing is Nicole Hitchcock, who's the owner of NH2 Salon, which is in Novato in Marin County, right here in the Bay Area. Nicole, it's good to have you on.
Hi, Alex. It's great to see you again. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And, you know, you and I, we should remind everyone, we spoke about a month or so ago. Obviously, your salon has been shut down ever since the lockdown went into effect here in California, and you still have not been able to reopen, even though earlier this week the governor gave the green light for salons to reopen, but the final say is up to the counties. Where do you stand in terms of trying to get your business back open again?
That's a great question. Let's see. So where do I stand? Well, it's a tricky situation, no matter how you look at it, for a multitude of reasons. Most of us in the salon business or salon owners are simply waiting for the green light, and they're just excited to reopen. And my attitude about that is I'm a little more risk adverse, and I'm really trying to gather as much information as we know about how the spread of COVID works. I think just last week it was revealed that, you know, that piece that we thought where it's all about sanitation and cleaning every surface, you know, bags of groceries before we bring them in the house, that doesn't actually contribute to the virus. But now my understanding is that it's really airborne, which, you know, when you're dealing with the hair salon industry, with social distancing being impossible, and even with masks, some salons, such as the one in Missouri that's gotten all the attention, where somebody was COVID positive and possibly has transmitted this to up to 180 clients, it leaves someone like me, a salon professional and owner, to wonder, what are the health and safety risks of reopening? And so I'm really exploring that.
So, I mean, it sounds to me like you're on the fence about whether you're going to be able to safely reopen your business, even if you are given the go-ahead by county health officials to do so. I mean, how much of it is your concern about safety? How much of it is your financial concerns? Because obviously we know, you know, when you talk about social distancing, it likely means far fewer people inside a business like yours at any one time. All of those factors play into it, I imagine.
They do. They do. There are so many factors that play into it. And I really do like to stick to the facts because I'm so full of emotions, as most of us are, around this. And, you know, what we know is that, you know, we've got three different entities. We have local government. For us, that's Marin County. That is, to my knowledge, assessing cases of COVID. And as an if there's an increase, that's when things like salons will not be able to reopen. And my understanding is that's why we haven't. But then we have all the other factors that go into me wanting or being willing to reopen. And that is things like, what if one of my employees did develop COVID? What does workman's compensation look like for that individual? And those are the types of things I've been researching, and it doesn't look super duper promising. There's frontline workers in other states that have tested positive, you know, doctors and nurses, and the studies that I'm researching are showing that they're being told they have to prove that they got it at work in order for those sorts of services to kick in. And that's just a really tough one to swallow. I believe in taking care of my people, and if it's not safe to do so, I'm not sure that I want to be part of a business model that has such high risks.
Yeah, there's so much risk involved in this. Do you imagine when you reopen? I mean, obviously there's going to be all these safety protocols in place, the masks, and you know, you do your best, I guess, to sort of space things out in terms of the clients as well. How much more money is it going to cost to put all these, you know, safety measures in place? How much more does that cost for a business like yours?
Honestly, it's unfathomable. I mean, between the PPE, you know, the spacing not just the physical spacing between clients because they can socially distance. Maybe we as the professionals can't socially distance with them, but the time in between each client to completely disinfect the area. That's what's being mandated to other salons in
Mhm.
states and counties that have reopened. That's like 15 to 30 minutes. For some salons, that's 1 or 2 appointments. For us, we take 1 hour typically. But now that things like blow dries are up in the air, COVID being an airborne illness, that air circulation is very, very concerning, because it doesn't matter how much you socially distance. If you've got a positive COVID case and you're
Right.
unknowing and it's spread, it's spread. And like this case in Missouri where this hairstylist inadvertently spread the COVID or to a coworker, and it's
Yeah.
exposed to many, many guests. I think it's 180 for sure. A situation like that becomes detrimental for a lot of reasons. First and foremost, those stylists are getting death threats. And, so that just, completely changes the ball game of what it is I'm interested in owning and operating and being responsible for. I like making people look and feel pretty and good. And this stuff is just like a whole nother ball game.
Yeah, and I'm imagining that you're not going to be able to offer all of the same services that you did before. I mean, is that true? Cutting hair is one thing, but I don't know, facials, those sorts of things. Is
Right.
that off the table?
Um, so our salon specializes in hair, but I have been
Oh,
following, all this stuff. So I do know that there are services that are absolutely off the table. I believe eyebrow waxing,
yeah, sure.
anything where you're getting really, really close, and there's a possibility of you know, uh, uh, communicable transfer. So waxing,
Mhm.
facials, eyebrow, what's called microblading, which is like a tattooing, and then eyelash extensions. Those are all services that have not been formally reintroduced on any type of timeline whatsoever.
In the meantime, since I know when we spoke last time, you talked about taking your salon and taking the business online and offering these virtual sessions to people and virtual kits to be able to do haircuts and colorings at home. How successful has that been over the
It's
past
not,
month?
yeah, yeah, so that's a great opportunity to focus on the positive. So that's gone gangbusters, and
Okay.
never in a million years would I think that individuals would be open to cutting and or coloring their hair at home when they love the whole salon experience. But times like these, we get innovative and we have a lot of time on our hands, all of us. And it's really empowering for individuals to learn how to cut their own hair. I just able to support a husband and wife duo. I sent them a kit
Mhm.
and walked them through the experience, and it was so lovely. And I think it's important to remember, some people are never going to want to change their own oil, but other people love to learn how. Just like baking and knitting, so there's always going to be a market for people that are going to want to go to salons. But I think anyone who has an autoimmune issue and or is of an older age, or a frontline worker. Right
Mhm.
now, frontline workers are not able to go to salons if they have been caring for someone with COVID for the last 2 weeks. That's a whole nother area that is really uncomfortable for someone like me, who I'd like to give free hair services to
Yeah.
people that are caring for our, most vulnerable population. And the idea of turning them away at the door because what that can cause if that person was positive unknowingly and then spread the virus, it's just, whew, it's a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's so many issues for you to consider when you look at what's kind of next here. Let me ask you about your employees and how well have you been able to support them while
Mhm.
the doors are closed at the salon, and how much financial help have you been able to get from the federal government, the state?
Yeah. It's been so tricky. We have like a text stream where that's like our primary source of communicating at the group level. And I try my best to reach out to them individually too. And they're all over the board. Those of my employees that are parents are now homeschooling their kids. So the idea of going back to a full-time job and trying to manage running someone's whole school program from home, it feels real powerless. So the majority of my staff that are parents have just been really straightforward with me and said, I just can't come back to work unless schools reopen or until schools reopen. And so that's tricky and completely understandable. And then I have a couple of people that work for me that also live with someone that has an autoimmune issue, and that too poses a huge risk, health challenging risk. And so there's a lot of people that are in this business that are really questioning the longevity, and at least in the typical sense. Then there's things like the whole virtual model where you don't have any risk of COVID. But as far as the government goes, to answer your question, it's some stylists are making more money than they did before. And so they're in a better financial situation for sure. The trick, as far as our industry in general, is getting people to follow the rules. This is not my employees, but in general, there's this temptation to go to people's homes and do their hair and collect unemployment.
Mm-hmm.
So that's that isn't my situation personally, but it's tricky. It's really tricky.
Yeah, you think there's? I mean, I think I've read an article or two about that, the underground hair cutting market that obviously is sort of sprouted up here during this time. That troubles you, I imagine.
It troubles me. It does. I'm a rule follower, and I just want everyone to get back to work as quickly as possible. And I don't know anything too. I'm not a scientist. I'm not a doctor. And so I understand that, we're all in different situations and survival is legitimate. And if for some reason you don't qualify for unemployment or this PPP money from the government, and you are destitute, people go to extreme measures to survive. And I understand that. And what I have tried to do for my own staff is, and also my community, is just to remind them of the plethora of resources that are available. I mean, there's so many. I mean, you can't get evicted right now for not paying your rent. Mortgage companies are deferring payments, and not to say that these are great practices to get in the habit of, but just as a reminder, that emergency fund we're supposed to have, it's for now. Yeah. We're in a pandemic, and so I think all bets are off.
So, I mean, obviously your number one priority is the safety of your employees and the safety of your clients. What if, tomorrow, the county health officials there in Marin say that, salons can open their doors. They, here's the checklist of what you have to do. Do you feel like you would be able to bring yourself to open the business back up and have people come in and have their hair cut and have their hair colored?
As much as I hate to admit it, I'm completely uncomfortable with that. And I opened my business 14 years ago to create a place for artists to thrive in their craft and people to come and receive beautiful hairdressing services. The idea of having to manage PPE and temperature checks and turn people away because they're frontline workers, and then look at someone getting COVID and not being able to provide them with appropriate care because my insurance companies won't cover it. I feel like the list of why reopening doesn't sound appealing to me goes on and on and on. And I'm definitely battling with a lack of willingness to do so. And it's not because I don't have a great landlord. And it's not because, I don't qualify for loans. It's nothing to do with that. It has to do with more of like, I think a core value of putting human life before the risk of causing potential harm.
Yeah, well, no, there's nothing wrong with being concerned about putting people at risk. And that's what this is all about here. I mean, that's what we're trying to do, is to keep people safe. That's the bottom line. Well, I mean, but at the same time, it's obviously it's unfortunate to hear that that a business like yours might not be able to make it through this and reopen. With that being said, what about shifting entirely to an online model? Is that something that's crossed your mind?
Well, that's what I'm doing. As soon as this pandemic ended up closing businesses like mine, I immediately kicked into gear and kind of re-engineered our most popular salon services to a platform where I can ship the service kits and then walk people through how to perform them themselves at home. And it's like, it's just completely gone gangbusters. And just tonight, I don't know if you're aware of this, tonight on the, I think it's CBS, there's a, do you know what I'm talking about?
This is like celebrities get their haircuts or
Yeah.
cut their own hair or what? Yeah.
Yeah. So virtual,
yeah. Okay.
virtual stylists like me all over the country are working with celebrities to do their own hair. And I really, honestly, Alex, I believe this is the wave of the future. Like, you're seeing personal trainers being replaced with these mirrors that have, you know, tutorials inside them. This whole do-it-yourself situation it's the wave of the future. And I'm starting to now work with other salon owners that are going to blend the whole virtual model into their freestanding businesses when they can reopen. And I'm more of the mind of, maybe we don't do the freestanding building piece at all. We just do the virtual, just to minimize the risks.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, you're being cautious, and that, you know, that's what you have to do. So wait, are you, just to clarify, are you going to be part of this show? Is that what I heard?
Did I? No,
I'm not sorry. No,
but they are virtual stylists.
Okay,
like
virtual stylists like me.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I was like, wait, is she going to be a part of it? I thought that would be cool.
I am definitely part of it.
You should be the next time around. Well, maybe we should, it's depending how long it is until we get salons. Maybe what we should do is you should help me give myself a haircut virtually. That's what I would love to do.
Why can't we do that?
I don't know. We can. Let's plan that. I need a haircut. So I know so many people out there are in the same boat as me. But yeah, we should do that. We'll talk further about that. But Nicole, I appreciate you giving us the update and giving us, kind of the unvarnished truth when it comes to what, really what the future holds for your business. I mean, it's sad to think about the fact you might not be able to reopen, but you're doing it. You're thinking about the safety of the public and your employees.
Yeah, absolutely. And this has been a great opportunity for me to really reevaluate what the word failure means, because, if you take the emotion out of it, it's really just shifting from one thing to another. And when you think about the why behind it, it's so in alignment with, for me at least, what is best. So I feel super good about it.
Okay, good. Well, it's good. It's good to catch up with you, and I'm glad to hear the online world of hairstyling is going well for you. Who would have ever thought it in a million years? Not me, probably not you, but it's a new world that we're living in, and it's changing so fast. Let's remind folks, if they're interested, because this is not, you're in the Bay Area, obviously, but anyone anywhere can take part in your virtual services. So how do folks find you, and what do they do?
So it's just go to our website, which is nh2, like the number 2, salon.com, and you can shop for whatever services and products and tools you need, and all of the virtual assistance is complimentary when you purchase a kit. So it's a great value.
All right. I'm getting to that point. I got to cut this hair. It's like, you see it sticking out in the back there, Nicole?
You still look great. Everything's
I appreciate that. Well, anyway, it's really good to catch up with you. Thank you so much. And I really wish you all the best in whatever direction this takes you. Thank you very much for checking back in with us. And I will let everyone out there know we have more information we put up at our website. That is coronavirusnow.com. That's Nicole Hitchcock from NH2 Salon in Novato, here in the Bay Area. And once again, I'm Alex Savage from KTVU Fox 2 News here in the San Francisco Bay Area. And I'll see you next time.
Awesome.